Currently in the EU there is discussion of creating hotspots for refugees in order to determine whether they have a chance to stay and where they should be distributed across Europe. These hotspots in the current planning were said to be installed in Italy and Greece for the relocation then to other EU countries, particularly for Syrian and Eritrean refugees. But it's not yet entirely clear how big and what purpose these hotspots would serve. These hotspots can be very useful if they really allow for a quick distribution of refugees to other European countries. If it is done quickly and people are not staying there for another 1 or 2 years. If the hotspots are meant to be sorting centers for many refugees to stay there, the risk is high that they become warehouses, it has been called in the US some time ago, that people are forgotten in those camps. We do not need more of these big camps, which are then again a ground for smugglers to say, we have something to offer for you. We then would need reception conditions for the persons in the countries concerned, decentralized accommodation and reception, and looking after the needs of the persons. So the hotspots for a short time, for a clearly defined purpose on EU territory, yes. If the purpose cannot be met because the other EU member states do not come up with a sufficiently high number, then we should not create hotspots where people are just gathered with no perspective. This is inside the EU. There is discussion also of having hotspots outside the EU. This is where we are very careful because the right to asylum is a territorial right. So if persons in need of protection are in other European countries, there is no legal ground to recognize their asylum in another EU member state. So unless, again, we have resettlement and relocation measures in place and provide a sufficient number of spaces, such additional camps are no good investment. Then we should rather invest in decent, good reception conditions, which is necessary in Greece, in Italy, in all EU member states, but not putting all our money into these centers, which are a very short-term measure.